Hey everyone, it's Brano, and I wanted to talk about why there is typically a delay between when I complete a game and when I release a game. Because I've been making Surface Breaker, and the development is going super quickly. Like, I am going to be completely done before the end of January. But I'm planning my release in April. And I wanted to give a couple reasons why I do this, because I've now done this twice. And the first reason is pretty obvious. It's just for marketing. Like, I don't have a lot of wish lists at the moment, and I would like my game to go through Next Fest, and I would like my game to go through the Tower Defense Fest, and I would like to have another more, like, just a couple more rounds of sending emails to influence and such in hopes that they cover my games. That's the obvious reason. Now, the second reason is because of something that I'm going to dub as back burner development. So, when you make a game, you get really used to it. And one way that, as developers, we try and alleviate getting used to it is to have many people playtest your games. You get to see exactly how people are playing, and you get to make adjustments based on how you see people play your game. But it's really valuable to have a break at some point from developing your game so you can go back to developing your game and get a completely fresh perspective when you're playtesting it. I know that with Heal to Death, after Next Fest, and after I had done a bunch of changes based on user feedback, I took 2 to 3 weeks to work on an RTS project. I came back and I found so much low-hanging fruit in Heal to Death that I had completely ignored. And I found that to be super valuable. It was the same thing after I released Heal to Death. After all the initial changes needed based on user feedback, I took a break to work on the RTS project again. Then I came back to Heal to Death to make patch 1.1, and during this time I still found a lot of low-hanging fruit that I hadn't noticed while developing the game. And so, with Surface Breaker, when I release this game, well, when I release the demo, I'm planning to having a break before I do a bit more development, maybe in like late March or something. And I am hoping that during this time, I'll have enough separation from it to be able to have a more critical eye of the game and make a couple more changes, like just small changes, because the game will be content complete. I just need like, oh, that could use a sound effect. I was expecting this to happen. This wasn't intuitive, that type of stuff. That's the type of stuff that you get to fix with back burner development. So I'm a big believer in setting up that scenario. Now, the third reason is to avoid post-release blues, as I'm going to call it. So there is a person called Fornity who made a very successful game with a YouTuber called Aramis, which is like a game about feeding a black hole. And I respect both of them, and they've both made videos about it, and this video is going to be about Fornity's journey. So Fornity did something interesting where he recorded a bunch of vlogs on a small YouTube channel and set the release date to the 2nd of January. And you got to see his entire kind of like thought process and journey when developing this game. And the final episode he released on Christmas. And the game had been a massive success. Like, this game is huge. Those guys have done so well for themselves. Yet Fornity, despite really being kind of like focused on the game being successful, like, he achieved his dreams, he achieved his goals, and yet he was talking about how he doesn't feel anything, and he's just kind of sad about the situation. And how he's like, I just feel this way. I shouldn't, but I just feel this way. And to me, I totally kind of get it, because this is your classical man who enjoyed the journey is now disappointed that he reached the destination. .mp4. It's that classic video of people who really fall in love with the process of making games. And now that it's over, they kind of feel a bit empty and sad and don't know what to do next. Because that's the thing that I find with people who release games, is that, like, chances are the people who release games are the people who enjoy the process of making them. And if you enjoy the process of making them, you are going to have this inevitable what's next when you release the game. You get too hyper-focused on reaching the destination that you never ever focus on the what's next. And this is something that I care about and that I did with Healed to Death. So while I was developing Healed to Death around February, I started planning my next project, and it ended up being an RTS game. So I kind of came up with the concept, and so after Next Fest, after all that stuff, I began to work on the RTS game, gave myself, you know, the back burner development time. But after release, I had my next project. I knew exactly what was next. I didn't have time to feel empty. I didn't have time to, like, contemplate on what's next. I already knew what was next. And it's the exact same thing with Surface Breaker. So I'm going to have very similar cases where I do Next Fest, I do the Tower Defense Fest, I have my break, I start working on the next project, I release Surface Breaker, maybe I'll do like a patch 1.1 or something, I don't know. But I'm already going to have my next project. In fact, I'm probably going to have 2 next projects. One with an artist and one doing sort of solo dev as well. And they're both going to be in the incremental genre because I saw Eramis's and Fornity's success and I want a little bit of this myself. But that is sort of like the point of the video, which is if you are the type of person who releases games, you need to turn and, well, if you are the type of person who could experience post-release blues, you need to turn your destinations into milestones. And you do that by planning ahead, planning the next destination before you reach your destination. You turn that into a milestone in your, I guess, game dev journey. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Stagnation is hell. You need to avoid it as much as possible.